Okay, so we're now going to talk about sans serif. And sans serif typefaces are called this because they lack the serif details on characters. And they're more often used in modern application, and the appearance is definitely more modern. Now, the first sans serifs were created in the late 18th century, and the example we're looking at right now is Delicious, which is a very common sans serif font. Now, there are four basic classifications of sans serif. You have your grotesque, your neo-grotesque, your humanist, and then your geometric. And grotesques are the earliest, include fonts like Franklin Gothic and Academia Grotesque, and these types often have letter forms that are very similar to serif typefaces, just minus the serif. Now, neo-grotesque typefaces include some of the most common typefaces. You have your MS Sans Serif, your Arial, Helvetica, and we used Helvetica a lot when we were recreating our Udemy app. And they have relatively plain appearance when compared to the grotesques, and is why they're very often used and a very common font used in modern applications. Now, the next one I want to talk about is humanist typeface. And this includes fonts like Gill Sans, Frutiger, Tahoma, and some of these you may not recognize, but Verdana or Optima or Lucid Grand. I'm sure you've seen these when you're in your word editor, and these are more calligraphic than other sans serif typefaces and are more legible, which is why they're so popular when used in website body copy. Now, they're more calligraphic than other sans serifs, meaning they have a greater variation in line widths. And the last one of the sans that I want to talk about is geometric sans serif. And these are more closely based on geometric shapes. So the O's in a geometric would appear circular, and a letter A is almost always simple. It's just a circle with a tail. And they're the least commonly used for body copy, and it's not a good idea to use them for large quantities of content. But they're great for headers or maybe implementing into a logo. And they're definitely the most modern of the sans serifs. And the second typeface that I want to talk about, the third, are scripts. And scripts are based on handwriting and are often very fluid letter forms. And there are two basic classifications. You have formal and casual. Now, formal scripts are often reminiscent of the handwritten letter forms common in the 17th and 18th century. And some scripts are actually based on historical handwriting of certain people. Now, there are modern creations too, and they're very common for elegant and elevated typographical designs, but are very unsuitable for body copy, and we would never use them. Now, casual scripts more closely resemble modern handwriting and date back to the mid-20th century. They're much less formal, and they often have stronger strokes and more of a brush-like appearance. Now, casual scripts, the ones we're looking at, includes minstrel and brush script, which are two that you may have heard of. And the last typeface I want to talk about is display. And display typefaces are a very broad category and include a lot of variation. Well, the main characteristic is that they're unsuitable for body copy, and they're better reserved for a headline or short copy where you really need to draw the attention of the viewer. Now, display typefaces can be formal or informal and can evoke any kind of mood. Now, they're more commonly seen in print design, but are becoming more and more popular, use in digital media and on websites and stuff like that. And also including amongst display typefaces are black letter typefaces, which were the original typefaces used with the printing presses. Since at that time, better, more reasonable fonts have actually been developed, and we no longer use those.